The show will start in just a moment on video. There I am. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to, let's see if we have this set up right, Poetic People Fighting Racism. Let's get right on into the intro for this show. So welcome to Poetic People Fighting Racism, double PFR. I'm your host, Anthony Cordova, Tony C., the man about love. I'm also the co-host of I'm Right, I'm Right, where I have the privilege to be do a show with my beautiful, with my intelligent, with my incredibly gifted wife, Jill Cox Cordova, right here on Fireside. Here at Double PFR, we discuss racism and the caste system in the United States of America through poetry, through art, through music, using the voices of our souls, using the strength of our ancestors to heal the fractured country we live in and die in. Here at Double PFR, all souls are welcome, all people are welcome. Welcome to discuss the racism we live in. Come on in. We'll put our arms around you, providing a safe place for you, a home to protect you, a place where you're surrounded by hope, where you're surrounded by compassion, where you're surrounded by empathy, forgiveness, and love. Surrounded by love, surrounded by so much love. So I'd love for you to come in with me, to stand by me, to see what we can do to change this country, to change the people that live in this country. I welcome you to Double PFR with love, with so much love. Double PFR. So welcome everyone to Double PFR, another show on the 18th. This is episode 4. Is the caste system in America real? That's a big question because most people will say it is not. So that's interesting. I want to welcome everyone that's here. We have Graciela, we have Dave and Sam. Hello. We have Connie and Ronaldo, and we have May the poet. Welcome, May. This is a special night. We also have Denise. Welcome so much for being here. And Sam I am is in here too. Both of you are here. That is wonderful. So tonight we're doing Is the Caste System in America Real? But before we get into that, I really want to thank everyone for being here. Because I know you don't have to be. I know it's a Saturday night. You should be hanging out somewhere, having a good time, having a drink, but not too much. Just a little bit, but not too much so you don't get wild. You know how that goes. Also, I want to thank all of you here because just by being here in this show, you're showing you're part of being an everyday activist. Just to listen to someone that does a show or a topic on racism in America is a big deal. Is a big deal. Like I said in the beginning, you really don't have to be here. And I really do appreciate that. Also, tonight we're going to have something special because I always like to present other poets on the show, whether it's poets or musicians or singers or whatever, talent you have. We'd love to see it here. We'd love to hear it here. This is a place where we can all pull together. I am truly about love and us being together and us being able to do things together. And so we can understand each other more. So that's kind of what that's about, and I'm just happy that you're here. And I also want to thank Fireside for letting us have this platform in order to do these types of shows, or actually just about any type of content Fireside creators want to do. That's a rarity, so we should all appreciate Fireside for that, which is cool. But getting back to something special tonight. Tonight, May the poet. She's here in the audience, and she wrote a poem. And I believe she wrote this to her husband. Give me a thumbs up if I'm correct, May, if you could. But I believe it was for her husband. So I'm going to do her poem before I do anything else. So let's see how that's going to work.
And
May
sweetheart, we
Yes.
also have a written comment from
Okay.
Sam. From Dave. I think of Dave and Sam. I think of that as one name, but even though there are two
Yeah, just
people.
like
But
Tony and
anyway,
Jill
Dave.
and Jill and Tony.
Right,
Excuse me.
right.
Uh
But
huh.
Dave wrote that he is sharing your amazing show with all of his followers, which is, of
Oh,
course,
thank you.
a lot of people.
Yeah, that is. Thank you so much, Dave. I really do appreciate that, and really, again, this is what I'm talking about. It doesn't take much to be an everyday activist. Dave sharing this out to all his followers is showing that, because he really doesn't have to do that. People can say, "Oh, I don't want to be involved in that. Why don't we just forget it? Why don't we leave it in the past?" But it's difficult for us to leave it in the past when it's still happening day to day. So that's why. So I am going to get into May's poem, which is called Unconditional. Unconditional. And we're going to do this without music.
And she said, no husband.
No husband. Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you for correcting me on that. Okay. Well, then that gives it hmm, yes. Anyway, I'll get into it. So this is by May the poet, Unconditional. If you would love her unconditionally, she will light up your world. If you tell her a secret, she will keep it close to her heart because you trust her. You trust her. If you lay beside her, you will hear her heart and her breath. All is good. She will stay happily beside you. There is nowhere else she wants to be other than beside you. If you play her a song, she will listen note by note. She will keep it safe in her memory, as if it was you who wrote all the notes. If you ever need to question her, if she believes you, ask her. Just ask her. Does she believe you? Ask her. Just ask her. If she says nothing in response, no, just know that that is your answer. Letting her be unconditionally loved by anyone is a blessing, is the blessing. You opened a locked door for her. She will never feel any regret. She will always appreciate you when you are here or gone. And know that no one will ever have her heart again, because with you is where her heart belongs. She has fallen for you unconditionally. no matter what your past or her history. The moment she took your hand in hers, she knew it would be for a lifetime. She can't count the days that have passed or every sunset since she found you. She has found no regrets in the life you dream of together. No hesitation, no reservations to make a home like no other, full of love, full of laughter, a partnership. Our lives. Our lives are so much stronger together because when we're together, there's no road to travel to find my way back to where I know my heart lies. At the end of every path I take, unconditionally yours, unconditionally mine, there's no finer life to live, no finer life to live than standing by your side, standing by your side in love with you. And that's it. That is the poem Unconditionally by May May the Poet. Please give her a big round of applause. We would love to. And I see we have a thumbs up from May, which is good. May doesn't like to speak on my show or our other show, but does she have a comment, Jill?
Not a new one.
Not a new one? Okay, well that's cool. That's all right. I like the poem. Thank you for so much for sending it in, May. And for anyone else that has anything to write, they want to send into this show, I will happily read it if you don't want to read it yourself. No problem. Now, when I was going through May's poem, I was really happy. It made me really happy. One, because I like the poem. You know, I like poems about love and us, pulling together and all of that. But what really, really made me happy was here on a show, Poetic People Fighting Racism. We have May that thought never in her life would she be on a show about poetic people fighting racism. But here she is, and she sent in a poem, and I am grateful for it. This is how we pull together. This is how we learn who each other are. This is how we learn to interact with each other. This is how we learn we're not so different. We're not so different. So, any notions that a person has on how different we are and the reasons we can't get along, you come to this show and it will dispel all of those myths that you may have. Because in the intro, in my intro, you know, I say this show is all about love and empathy and compassion and togetherness and all of this great stuff. And this is what I truly want to do. This is what I truly believe in. And
We
this
do
is
have a comment from May now.
okay.
I was walking into the house from work, so I can't respond as quickly um, to you, but I appreciate the fact that you read it, and thanks. For someone who has never allowed to let my words break podcast, uh, let my words be read podcast wise. This is a first thing. This is a first. Thank you.
You're welcome, May. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. And I thank you also. Um, And it's just like I was saying, this is like a step. This is like a step. It's step for all of us that are in the audience to see what we can do together. This is a step to help show what this show is really about, because I'm sure a lot of people either are afraid to come to the show or just absolutely, absolutely have no desire to talk these topics. But we have to talk these topics. We have to talk about them if we're going to learn to love each other. We have to do this. Now, if you don't care, then you don't have to do this. But if you're a person that cares about society, that cares about the human race and how we live here and how we are so out of control, this is the show. This is where you need to be. So, before I start my poem for the night, is there anyone that has any comments or anything before I get into that? And I believe not. So that's okay. That's the other thing about here. There's never any pressure. If you just want to stay in the audience and just listen, fine. If you want to listen to just the replay and never come to a live show, that's okay too. I'm happy if you just watch it and listen and maybe go away with something, maybe take something positive away with you after you have viewed the show. Now, the poem I am doing tonight is called Caste. And I've already done this poem once in episode 6, but I read it straight as I wrote it in my manuscript. So, being that I was going to do it again, and it's a good one to do again. There's some poems that I write that they need to be heard more than once. So I'm going to do it again, but I I'm all tongue tied, revised it a little bit, and changed it just a little bit, to try to make it a little different. So you're not just hearing the same poem the same way with the same cadence. It's just switch it up a little bit. So again, here it is, Caste, and the second presentation of it. Man, it's an elaborate system the blue and white eyes created, wherein we are outcast. We are cast out and kept out. We are knocked down and kicked around. We are messed on and stepped on. We are ground down. Just ground down. For the melanin in our skin, for the darkness of our skin. Less than just living and dying. Man, they see us born alone. They see us living, then they see us dying. And they don't see our loving mothers, and they don't see our protective fathers. And they don't see our strong black sisters, and they don't see our strong black brothers. Man, they don't see our intelligence, or our fearlessness, or our homelessness. Yeah. And they don't see our compassion or our empathy. And they don't see a black life, a black man. and they don't see a black woman or a child. They only see us as less than, not worth living, just dying. Man, they're lying to themselves and to every portion of this country by seeing us as the lowest of the low and below the lowest rung. They see us only as less than, just living and dying and stealing and lying. Yeah, and black lives matter less and less and less than. In their system of caste, of hierarchy and class controlled by them, man, they make us play the role of less than. In their system, in their system of caste and ass kissing, their system, in their system of American systemic racism. Yeah, it's a system. It's a system that keeps us drowning in America's racial septic system. Yeah, their septic system. Designed to keep us below mankind, to keep us below the human race, to keep us below the poverty rate. You see, they're trying to make a case. Man, they're trying to make a case that we are lazy, that we are worthless, that we won't take care of ourselves without the help of our false white saviors. Our false white saviors. The blue and white eyes that control our lives. Yeah, it was by design. The United States was created to keep black lives ground down, just ground down, to keep us oppressed and depressed and abused and used like tools to exploit black lives in any way they see fit. Damn, man. It's an elaborate system. It's an elaborate system the blue and white eyes created, wherein we are outcast, we are cast out and kept out. Man, we are knocked down and kicked around. We are messed on and stepped on. We are ground down, just ground down. For the melanin in our skin, for the darkness of our skin. Man, caste is an elaborate system. It's an elaborate system we live and die in. Damn, man. Caste is an elaborate system. It's an elaborate system we live and die in. Damn, caste. It's an elaborate system we live and die in. Damn, caste. Damn. 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 Well, that's the revised version of Caste. If you enjoyed that, please give a round of applause. If you didn't enjoy it, give me a round of applause too. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Before I get into this poem and what I've done, is there any comments or questions? Anything? Anything at all? Could be about this poem, could be about something that's not so closely related to this poem. But you can still ask that question if you wish. And if there's no one, no comments or questions, I will move on. Now, usually I will go through the poem, not always line by line, but there's a couple of things, a couple of questions that I ask myself, and I want to ask you also. Excuse me. So, my first question
Graciela
is
has a comment.
okay, I'd love to hear from Graciela comment.
Oh,
What do we
hold
have?
on. She said, amazing and loved the music too.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I like that music too. I guess that's why I used it. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Graciela. I really do appreciate it. A special person here on Fireside. She has several shows now, which all are pretty doggone good. So check her out. She's easy to find. Okay. So my first question when I was going, thank you. When I was going through this, my first question was, is caste real? Now, it's finally gotten to the point in this country where this country realizes that racism is real, and that's a good start. Racism is real. That it took this long for most of the country to believe that racism is real is doesn't make me too happy, but people believe racism is real now. So they know these things go on, but people don't either know about the caste system, and if they know about the caste system, they don't believe it's real in America. So I thought I would just bring up a few things. Like, in India, the most famous caste system in the world. And the world will accept that India is under a caste system. Now, in India, if you are on the bottom of the caste system, anyone that is above you in class, anyone, you could be walking down the street in India, in Pakistan, and someone else from a higher class could see you and they could say, "Hey, you, come over here." You would have to come. You would have no choice. Because if you didn't come to that person can come over and beat you in the street with a stick because you didn't do what they said. And the person that's on the lower caste might also be sent to jail because they didn't do what the other person has said. So they can say, "Hey, come here. I need somebody to unload my truck." They would have to do it. They would have no choice. They have to put everything down. And also, in the caste system in India, much like in this country, if you are dark skinned Indian, you're in the caste system and you're at the bottom of the caste system. So if you have dark skin, and I believe that class is called I'm going to pronounce it wrong, the daylights, dollies. I think they're dailies or dollies. I know I'm screwing it up. The way it's spelt is not the way it is pronounced. Anyway, so if you're dark skinned, you're already at the bottom of the cast. You can't get out. You can't get out of it. You can't work your way out of it. You can't do anything. You're in it. And that's why so many Indians, if they're able to get an education, because that's the other thing. If you're on the bottom of the caste system, chances are you are completely uneducated. Completely. So you stay there. So you can only do menial jobs. And just by one other person from a higher class looking at you, they know you're in the lower class. They don't need a sign. The sign is the color of their skin in India. That's a sign you know. You can see they're uneducated and they're on the lower rung. So they have to obey the people on the higher rung. And again, like I said, oh, that's not how it is in the United States. But is it? Here's the deal. If you are African American in this country, if you are Asian in this country, if you are anything other than Caucasian, American, they they will see you differently. Period. If you speak another language, they will see you differently. Even if you're Caucasian and you speak a different language and you come from another country, this country will treat you differently. They will treat you as less than. Period. Period. So let's take African Americans. African Americans are on the bottom of the caste system in America. And a person might say, well, what about the refugees that come from Mexico? What about the refugees that come from Honduras? What about the refugees that come from Brazil or wherever they come from? They're probably on the bottom. No, even they're not on the bottom. As harshly as they're treated, even they're not on the bottom. They're right next to us, but they're not on the complete bottom. Because the thing is, with an African American, you can be 50 yards away from them and you can see they're African American. Through a person's mind, they may, oh yeah, they're African Americans. Now, what did that Caucasian learn about African Americans? One of the first things they learn is they look different. Then the next thing they learn is they used to be our slaves. And then one of the next things they might learn is, but they didn't mind. They were happy slaves. They were happy working for us. But the problem is the color of our skin, is our prison stripes. We will always be seen differently because of the color of our skin. You know, you can be a black person that is highly educated, multiple degrees, but on face value, people will see him or her as just another black person, just another one, seen as less than. Now, in some cases, and that is a caste system. Let's take schools. Let's take the public school system in America. African Americans and people from other countries, and actually, let's go with lower income neighborhoods, which many African Americans live in, many Mexicans live in, many refugees live in. Lower income neighborhoods. Why is that? Because they can only get low paying jobs because of their lack of education. And I'm so tired of hearing pull yourself up from the bootstraps. Everybody can't do that. I wish everyone could, but everyone can't do that. When you're just being constantly knocked down, you're going to a public school that doesn't give you the same education that you may get in a affluent neighborhood. It just doesn't happen. So we're kept in places. It is actually a caste system that works so well in this country and is hidden so well that most of us don't know it exists. So as long as the caste system stays in place and as long as people don't realize it exists in this country, can't beat racism. It's part of the reason they're able to knock back so many laws now that were in effect. Roe versus Wade. You see, because even women fit in this caste system. So you have in this country, white men, educated white men are on the top, followed by white men, just regular white men, followed by educated white women, and then you have uneducated white women, and then you have uneducated poor white women and poor white men. They're down the ladder on the caste too because they're treated awful also by their own people. They see someone living in a poor person. Maybe they're making $25,000 a year and they live in a trailer park. Why do they live there? Because they're poor. Most people don't live in a trailer park by choice. So in this country, if you live in a trailer park and people know about it, and people that are higher up on that ladder, they will discriminate against you for that. So the caste system doesn't only affect black people. We're just on the bottom. And we will always be there as long as the caste system exists. And if you don't believe me, really start looking around and examining different things. Examining different neighborhoods when you drive through different neighborhoods and what you see. And you will see a stark difference in where that person comes from, what color that person is, what their income is. It all matches up. So if you live in a poor neighborhood, you get a poor education. You know, a lot of people higher up on the ladder would say, well, just go to a better school. How is that child going to go to a better school when their parents can't even pay for their lunch because they don't have enough money? So it's not an easy fix. But we start fixing it by coming to shows like this. We start looking around, watching, observe what's going on. And you'll see, oh, gee, this is really messed up. You know, I'm going to tell this quick story. Quick. I owned a trucking business, a small trucking business. I had 6 trucks. And let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 trucks. 4 of my drivers were white, and 2 were black. And sometimes I would have to, the truck would have to go into the shop, and I might go pick up the driver from the shop so we could go home, or I would be there when we put the truck in the shop. Every single time when we both showed up at the truck repair, they always thought the white guy was the owner. Every single time. Why is that? Why is that? And check this out. I wasn't even dressed in work clothes. I was dressed in business clothes. And they still thought the white driver was the owner. Casual business clothes. I didn't look like a truck driver. But yet, every single time, my employee, they thought was my boss. That is the caste system. They couldn't wrap their brain around a black person hiring a white person, a black person being the owner, a black person with the money. They couldn't do it. They couldn't do it. They just made assumptions. And those assumptions happen every day. If we go in a store, it's always the assumption that the black person is going to steal. Always. It happens when I was young. It happened when I was a teenager. It happened when I was a young adult. It still happens to me. No matter what my experience in life, no matter how much knowledge I have, no matter how kind I am, I'm still looked at as a person on the bottom, strictly for my color. Strictly. That's it. Strictly. And I see I have talked for a long time already. I got a list here of 8 things, and I am not going to get through this list. But I want to ask, is there any comments or questions yeah, from the audience? Anything at all? There's no crazy questions. Any question, I will be happy to answer. If there's something you always wanted to know, I will I will answer that question. It might be a question like, how come black women don't like anyone to touch their hair? Valid question. A lot of people want to know that. A lot of people don't know that. But if no one has that question, I will not answer it. It's not necessary. Okay. So we're at 42 minutes and I am paying attention. I'll skip through these and go to something else.
Sweetheart,
Yes.
I would love for you to answer that question since you're bald.
Actually, Jill, maybe you should answer
Oh
that
no,
question.
you set yourself up to answer it. I want to hear your answer.
Well, I'm going to start with, because I am not a woman. So I will start with my experience as a male. And it actually goes back to slavery for a male. When I was very young, my father told me that he said, never let a white man rub your head or rub your hair. Never let them do that. So why not, Dad? He says, because in slavery times, they would take the little black boys and the little slave children and use them as a lucky charm. So the myth was, if you rubbed a black boy's hair or his head, it would bring you good luck. Good luck. So he said, never let white man do that. And I was like, I'm little. That's not real. That's not real. He said, okay, just don't let a white man rub your hair. I don't care if you don't believe me. Just don't let them do that. Okay, Dad. Not until I was an adult did I find out that was real. That was real. They would use little black slave boys for good luck. They would use them to get the arthritis out of their body. They would tell a little black kid to put their feet on wherever the arthritis was on the master to draw the arthritis out of them. It was the truth. So for a black male, that's why I don't want you rubbing my head. Now, I don't have any hair, but still, and when I did cut all my hair off, a lot of people wanted to rub my head. Now, if they asked nicely, I might let them do that. But I never let a white man do that. If it was a woman, oh, I never felt a bald head before. And so I would do that. Now, when it comes to black women,
Before you
s-
move
yes.
on from that story, Denise said, Dad said that?
Yeah, yeah, it's hard to believe, isn't it? But he did. Hard to believe. Like I said, Denise, he spent, more time with us than he did with you. We were the boys, you were the girls. I don't know. We learned a lot of stuff from him that uh, you may not have. So I'm sorry about that. Um, so so with black women now, with black women in this country, we as black people, for many, 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 many years, and still now, have to try to assimilate to the society in America, assimilate to get along. And a lot of people know this from other countries. And definitely when I was growing up, everybody wanted to assimilate. They wanted to leave their heritage behind, leave their language behind, and assimilate. And it's probably why I don't speak Spanish, because my grandparent wanted to assimilate on my father's side. So when it comes to black women, the part of assimilating can be to straighten their hair. Okay. That takes a lot of time and a lot of money. A lot of time and a lot of money. So their hair is very precious to them. And for someone to come up to a black woman and, usually they may not ask. They say, let me touch your hair. I never felt a black person. They might not say a black person, but they might say, I just wanted to touch your hair. Now let's think about it. Who would want a stranger walking up to them and running their fingers, their dirty fingers? We have nowhere those fingers, nowhere. We have no way of knowing where those fingers have been. But a total stranger can feel that they have the right to walk up to a black woman and run their hands through their hair. That is a caste system. So maybe you can understand why a black woman should be so angry when someone tries to do it. They spent a lot of money and time on their hair, and someone else can come along and feel they have the right to just run their hands through their hair. Why? Because that white person sees the black person as less than. It doesn't matter. I can do whatever I want to them. And they may not even realize that they really see black people as less than, because they've lived their whole lives that way. Their parents have lived their lives that way. Their grandparents have lived their lives that way. They don't know any different. They don't know anything different. It's disrespectful.
Graciela wrote, no one touches her hair. She even cuts her own hair herself.
That is good. And you know what? I'm sure Graciela has a lot of reasons for that. We won't get into that, but I'm sure she does a whole lot of reasons why she doesn't. Why she doesn't, and I understand. So, anyway, these are just some, things to think about. With the hair, a lot of people never thought about that. But that is a part of the caste system. A person believes they have the right to just do that. Does a person have the right to walk up behind you and touch your butt? Does a person have the right to walk up to you and touch your breast, your crotch, your legs, your arms, anywhere? No. But somehow there are people in this country that believe they have the right to do that to a black woman. And not just black, it's Asian, it's and actually and women in general. Women in general. You all know this is true. And that's the thing. White women in this country need to begin to see that white men in power in this country see them within this caste system also. So white women are not on the bottom, but white men in power believe they can control white women. They believe they have the right to do that. And they believe they have the right to cover it up and believe they have the right to do whatever they want to a white woman, to an Asian woman, to a black woman, to a Hispanic woman.
And hair in this country has been weaponized and politicized. That's why even in 2023, there are still states that don't have laws that says I can show up to work wearing my hair the way it naturally grows out of my head. There are actually law rules against it in most of the states in this country. So that's why the
Yes.
Crown Act is so very important that all states adapt. But it's like, it's my hair. It's how it naturally grows out of my head. And yet you're somehow threatened by it. Why?
Why? Yes. Why? And I'm very happy that you brought that up, Jill. And the why is you're not assimilating. That is the why.
No, that's not
So
my personality. Rule? What
Yeah,
rule?
yes, but look, I don't have a problem. If a black woman wants to straighten her hair, fine. That's her prerogative. That's fine. I am not trying to control her. That's what she wants to do. It is her body. It's her choice. But taking the abortion right away from women should really open a lot of people's eyes that there is a caste system in this country. That the white men that make the power, those are the ones I call the blue and white eyes. The ones that make the power, the ones that have the power, they're controlling women's bodies. Now, before that, they can control a woman no problem. Their wives and everything. Do you know that? And this is in my time, back in the '60s, in the early '60s, a woman could not have a credit card. And this is the truth. A woman could not have a credit card. She could use her husband's credit card, or her husband might set up an account at a store, a Sears or any Macy's or something like that would set up an account for her. But the wife could never own a credit card. And why is that? That is so the husband, the white male, could keep control of his wife. What she does, how much money she can spend, where she can go, what she can do. That is part of the caste system. Start looking around. Look and see how you are treated by white men on your jobs. See who the bosses are. See whether there's women that could do the job 3 times as well as her boss, but she never gets promoted. And with that, the white woman might be doing all the work. And the white male, he's just hanging out, having a good time. That is part of the caste system. And just black people are on the bottom. Now, how do you abolish a caste system where nobody believes it exists? You have to start opening people's eyes to see it does exist. And it doesn't just affect black people. You may think, oh, well, it doesn't affect me. I'm not black. Yeah, more than likely, it affects you some kind of way. Just start looking for it. Open your eyes and you'll see it. And
We have a
with that,
comment from Denise.
okay.
Here's something similar. I had a poster in my office which depicted a black family scene, but fellow black coworkers felt as though I would get terminated because of having black pictures displayed in my office.
You know, I know that's, excuse me, a true story. Not that I'm doubting what my sister says. I know it's a true story. So, as you see, in a, well, I'm not going to say where my sister works, but let's just say it's a corporate setting. That's all I'm going to say. It's a corporate setting. And in a corporate setting in America, the employees feared for my sister, and my sister was above them, in her job status. They were afraid that she would get terminated because she had a picture of a black family on the wall. Think about it. How insane is that? If you worked someplace and you had an office and you had a Norman Rockwell picture up on the wall, and if someone said, you have to take that down because there's white people up there, or even to think you would have to take it down. Just the question, just to have that thought that a person would have to take a picture down in their office just because it had a black family on it. What the hell? This is real. This is real, y'all. I'm not lying. This is real. Open your eyes, start watching. When you see it's real, then maybe we can start loving each other. Maybe we can start having some compassion for each other. Maybe we could start having some empathy for each other and love each other. Part of the reason I have this show, and it's 10 o'clock now, and I'm going to end this in just a moment. The reason I have this show, not until you understand how we live day to day can you start having empathy and compassion, real empathy for us. that are on the bottom of the rung of the caste system in this country. Not until then will we pull together and help change this country. So I'm going to close with that. And I really
One
do.
more comment.
Okay.
It's an update to Denise's story. She says, well, for me, it started with keeping the picture on my office wall regardless.
I love my sister. She's a rebel. Fabulous. Fabulous. And more of us need to do things like that. We need to stand up for who we are. We need to
And stand
stand
up
up
for
for our rights in any way you can.
each other,
And
too.
stand up for
One
each
of the
other.
things that drives me nuts is when people witness things that people say that are meant to hold you down, but they'll wait till they get you by yourself to say, "Oh, that was wrong." Well, say it then. Say it to them so that they will hear it from you.
Yes. Yes. Because, listen, everyone, we cannot do this on our own. We will not be successful trying to do this on our own. I'm 64 years old. It hasn't changed in my lifetime. It hasn't changed in my parents' lifetime. It hasn't changed in my grandparents' lifetime. And I'm old. Think
Graciela
about it.
has another comment that's very interesting. She says, "So proud of all of us for self-advocating." Me too, Graciela. And then she says, "I married a white man." Ha ha ha. These are her words. But he's 1/4 Cherokee, so I've been unveiling that side.
Yeah, yeah. And well, look, I love everybody. I believe we're all human beings. I have a white son in law. I love him. He is a good man. He is honest and he's kind and he treats my daughter wonderfully. And he treats his daughter wonderfully. I can't do anything but love him. So, even though I'm talking all of this racial stuff and everything else, I truly believe we are one people. We are all human beings. We just need to stop trying to put ourselves on top of someone else. Because we're not better than anyone else. We're not. We're not. Treat each other with some love. The world will be a better place. Not so easy, so hard. I write stuff, love, just love, but it's so easy. It's so hard. As many of us have no clue on how to do it. No clue. Only we learn how to hate really easily. It doesn't take but one time for us to see some hatred and we'll turn and hate. It's crazy. But again, I do need to close out this show. And again, all of you, I love you all, and you all are here, and you all stayed the entire show. And I just want to say congratulations. I am so happy that you all have been here because, like I say, I know you don't have to be here. And I know these are difficult subjects to hear and talk about. And, if you don't want to come up and speak, that's fine. That is fine. I just want you to be here. I want us to be able to join together. I want us to begin to understand each other and begin to love each other instead of finding reasons and why we're so different. Because we're really not. We really are not. Okay, this time I'm really going to close out the show. Again, I want to thank all of you for being here. I want to thank Fireside for providing this platform for me to be able to do this. It's fabulous. I want to thank my producer. I want to thank everyone. And hello, Jennifer, I believe it is. Thanks for coming. Check out the replay when you can. I want to thank Graciela, and I want to thank Jill again, my producer. I'd be lost without her. You all know that. I want to thank my sister, Denise, for her comments. They were very helpful to the show. Thank you for contributing. We have Shannon here. Thank you for coming in. I saw you when you came in, I don't know, maybe 15, 20 minutes ago, maybe. And I want to thank May the poet. May the poet with the lovely poem that she wrote. And I really did love that poem because it is about love and unconditional love. I want to thank Dave and Sam. I want to thank Ronaldo and Connie. And I want to thank me because I'm here doing what I'm supposed to do. For real, I love you all. Intro music that I'm playing now is called Choral by 29 Beats. And let's see, the music I played with my poem, the Caste poem, is by Late. Actually, it's called Late, and it's by Rama Low. Check him out on BeatStars, him or her. I don't know whether he's male or female or transgender. I don't know. I just like the music. So that's it. Let me see. Next show. My next show is on March 4th. And what is the title of this show? It's called They Keep Us From Seeing. So March 4th, They Keep Us From Seeing. Let's see how that turns out. Again, I love you all. Thank you for coming. This was fabulous. Next time, if you feel more comfortable, talk. You don't have to get on camera. With any questions or comments you have, I would love to hear them. So I love you all, and I'm getting ready to get